Cerezo Osaka make 4 changes to the side beaten at Machida Zelvia a week ago. Ayumu Ohata makes a first start for the club at left back after arriving from the Belgian side Leuven, having debuted off the bench last week. He is in for Hayato Okuda tonight. Yoshino replaced Kida at half-time in that previous game. He does so from the start here. The other changes are further forward, where top scorer Rafael Ratao is ruled out through suspension, and his fellow Brazilian Thiago Andrade drops to the bench. So Shinji Kagawa is recalled, and Shion Homa makes only his second league start. There's also 4 changes for Vissel Kobe, although they were last in action as recently as Wednesday, so a degree of rotation was expected, despite the 1-0 success at Sanfrecce. Takehiro Ogihara had started 13 in a row in J1 before coming off the bench in midweek, so he returns to the 11 tonight. Haruya Ida makes only his 3rd league start of the season and first since February, whilst there is a recall for Jean-Patrick against his former club, and notably for Yoshinori Muto, who's recently returned from a back injury and starts for the first time since April. Yuya Osako isn't asked to start twice in 4 days after his own recent spell on the sidelines has been their issue this season. Not necessarily just this season either. So they can rise to the occasion here in front of their own fans. They've lost it though, and the early chance was for Jean-Patrick after Inoue had been carelessly caught in possession. And the Brazilian making his return to Osaka. The club with whom he started his career in Japanese football was almost presented with a gift of a goal. Akito Inoue, who lost out here. Osako back on the bench after his midweek exertions on his return from injury. And that was a good challenge. Kagawa touching it wider. Homer in full flight again with support from Ohata. 3 in the middle. And towards Lucas Fernandez. He was outnumbered, but he nearly made something of it. A bit better from the home side. This is promising for Vissel Kobe and for Miyashiro, who maybe will feel he could have done a bit more from there. He's their top scorer, is the player really that they would have wanted in this position. A little fortunate that he found himself there. Inoue blocking his path forced him perhaps to take the to persist with the policy of trying to play out from the back despite that pressure being applied. In the knowledge that it will create space elsewhere. Dion calls here. There's plenty of space for Yoshino. Lucas Fernandez takes it off him and takes over. In towards Nakajima, it will come instead for Homa. And this is Kagawa! And Cerezo lead against the champions, thanks to Shinji Kagawa. Homa played his part, and Kagawa was perfectly positioned when it was played back to him to do the rest decisively from there. Score only his 2nd J1 goal of the season, his 5th in all competitions. For one of Cerezo's most famous sons. Back at the club these days to finish his career, you would suspect, at the club where it all started for him as a 17-year-old. Successful stint in Europe in between. A big goal here to make the breakthrough against. It's full focus on trying to turn this one around, because Cerezo have started strongly enough in this second half. Here is the goal scorer Kagawa with the touch. And there is the cross in towards Tanaka, stretching from almost underneath the crossbar, and he couldn't quite keep it down. Well worked again from Cerezo in the build-up. They are playing some lovely stuff in terms of the approach play. And then it was clipped in for Tanaka to rise, and having done that bit, he would have expected to score from there. Lucas Fernandez denied yet another assist. It was he who stud up the cross. Tanaka's score of a couple of goals from midfield missed that one, and how costly it could be, because at the other end it is Eric, and it's 1-1 just like that. The The responsive champions, and the Brazilian, only brought off the bench at the break, has his goal already to level the game. Couldn't perhaps, should have been 2 down. Instead they're back on terms, and it came from that long clearance from the goalkeeper. And then a neat little ball from Osaka to Eric, the 2 half-time substitutes combined here. That pass opened it up for Eric to slot it in and score his 7th of the J1 season since his move from their title rivals Machida. Slotted it away with real conviction here. Yoshino alongside him. Now Ohata, and this is Homa. Kurosaki is with him, making it more difficult than it might have been. Kagawa able to pick the pass for Yoshino, and in it goes towards Nakajima, and then wide it whistles. Fluent football in the final third again from Cerezo Osaka. The Peppers will be delighted tonight by some of their approach play. It hasn't quite been matched by the clinical nature required in front of goal. Nakajima steering that one just wide. Hatta. Joining in from the back is Hatanaka. Hatta, it's a really good ball in, an excellent save, denies Nakajima. Maekawa plunging to his left, kept it out. That's been well won back here. And then blows just wide. All going on. But in amongst all of that was a fine save from Daya Maekawa. Hasn't had too much to do in this second half, but he was equal to this. Excellent passage of play, really. Ohata's ball in was exactly where it should have been. Nakajima didn't do a lot wrong with the header. Guided it goalwards, and it was on target, heading inside that far post, but for Maekawa. He was able to make an impressive stop. Here they come with Osaka. He's still going. Got decent distance on now on the run that he made before trying to pick out Eric in the middle. It's a strong surge from Yuruki. Eric was a little outnumbered, but it nearly came his way, didn't it? His movement was impressive. He was alert to the opening, into the possibilities in the penalty area there. Andrada again, Sakai is with him, Thiago Andrada is away from him, and it's left here for Kida, and it did take a little touch on the way over the top. It works it well for Hinata Kida. He's had a couple of glimpses of goal already since he came on. This was perhaps the most presentable. It owed much to another of these substitutes, Thiago Andrada, who'd done really well, and it was a lovely little touch by Kagawa into the path of Kida. It's quite a big touch actually off. They've got it back up that end of the field very quickly though with Muto. Good hold up play from him. Nearly came for Eric, and then nearly for Ideguchi as well, but not quite. And they will have to settle for a point apiece, because that is the full-time whistle. The champions held, albeit having battled back from behind to rescue a share of the spoils at Cerezo, who'd led thanks to the goal from Shinji Kagawa late in the first half. A lead that was lost right at the start, really, of the second half. Nakajima had his chances to restore the advantage for Cerezo, but they were never quite able to edge ahead again. And Kobe, having got themselves back on terms when they did so, will be a little frustrated not to have gone on and turned it around in its entirety. There is plenty to reflect on for both of the bosses, plenty to be positive about regarding their performances, but ultimately they do have to settle for a point apiece, and that may not really satisfy either of them. Full time here, Cerezo Osaka 1, Vissel Kobe 1.